In recent days, Biden wants to arrest Trump, once again making Trump the headline news in the United States and even the world. After all, Trump is a very charismatic American president. So what has shaped Trump's rise to prominence? Let's review Trump's rags to riches story together. Trump's father made a fortune by starting with low-rent housing. However, Trump's business acumen surpassed that of his father. Trump realized that making money from the poor was a troublesome task, as it involved constantly dealing with tenants who didn't pay rent, had low social etiquette, and damaged facilities. So he aspired to take the high-end route. When he was young, he sold cars with his father and realized that spending $500 to maintain a machine in perfect condition wouldn't help him sell it for more. Because as long as the machine didn't have any issues, it met the buyer's expectations. However, spending an extra $50 to polish the car and make it look brand new could allow him to sell it for an additional $500. Trump gained fame and made a name for himself by building Trump Tower in the heart of New York City. However, every obstacle he encountered before construction was enough to make an ordinary person give up multiple times, such as dealing with the US government and securing bank loans. He faced a vicious cycle of no money from the government, no approval from the government, and no loans from banks. Finally, he easily resolved the issues by leveraging his influential connections, highlighting the importance of fame. The government's priorities and those of businessmen are not always aligned. Businessmen focus on return on investment, while government officials consider factors such as urban aesthetics. When Trump talked about building a skyscraper, other businessmen expressed concern about the huge cost, but government officials didn't even blink. They were concerned about preserving two works of art that were obstructing the construction, which would require spending millions of dollars. Trump, on the other hand, didn't care and suggested demolishing the artworks to avoid delays in the project. The media then reported on it extensively, highlighting how Trump's building was cutting corners and disregarding civic artistic sentiments. While it tarnished his reputation, it also emphasized how impressive his building was. As a result, the property sold even better. This taught Trump another lesson: good reputation is better than bad reputation, but having any reputation is better than having none. I believe this played a decisive role in his winning the election. People will never pay attention to any views expressed by someone they haven't heard of before. The middle of Trump Tower is a shopping mall, while the rest is a residential area. The houses are easy to sell, but the macroeconomy affects the buyers. For example, Arab tycoons bought properties earlier, but when oil prices plummeted, those Arab buyers disappeared. This made him understand the macro trend and the impact on business. No matter how capable and optimized you are, you cannot compete with the trend. He said he dislikes negotiating with the Japanese the most. When the Japanese come, there are a dozen people. It's not enough to persuade one or two people. You have to persuade all these dozen people. It's really annoying, just like when you want to do something and you need to get the agreement of the whole village. Because of this experience, I believe Trump has long been aware of the inefficiency of democracy for the entire American population. When Trump was unknown and went to a club to expand his network, the club administrator didn't pay attention to him. He kept harassing the administrator and invited him out for a drink. After getting drunk, they discussed the matter over the phone, but the administrator acted like he had amnesia and didn't remember what was agreed upon at the dinner table. Trump persisted and finally the administrator allowed him to join the club, but with one condition: not to flirt with other people's women. Because Trump was young and those ladies in the club were mostly with old men, who tended to cause trouble easily. Why did he go to great lengths to join the club? It's because he tasted the sweetness of networking in college. He had average grades and transferred to Wharton School of Business at a regular university in New York because his family was relatively wealthy. American universities allow midterm transfers, and top schools are playgrounds for the elites. When he transferred, he knew that what he learned on campus was not important, but the circle was the most important. This is why he chose to go to Wharton instead of Harvard Business School. His subsequent success has also confirmed his idea. During his business dealings, Donald Trump grew to despise bureaucracy. When he tried to contact a large group to buy a building, the department he reached out to said they would contact the boss, but there was no progress for a long time. This made Trump realize that in order to collaborate, he needed to directly contact the decision-makers and not rely on the ineffective employees who only cared about their own interests, disregarding the company's well-being and only causing inconvenience during their holidays and benefits. This is why, after becoming president, he skipped the middle management and communicated directly with the lower levels through Twitter to govern. In the end, when Trump was discussing purchasing intentions with a famous elderly businessman, he emphasized the importance of keeping the negotiations confidential to avoid other potential buyers driving up the price. The old man agreed, and they shook hands to seal the deal. However, Trump was surprised when the old man reminded him that the agreement was already made and that the deal was done, and he didn't need to rush to sign a contract. This revelation left Trump feeling naive, as in his previous real estate negotiations, he often relied on handshake agreements that turned out to be futile, as other parties didn't keep their word. The old man then went on a business trip, and rumors leaked out that other buyers were bidding for the property. Trump started to worry that the old man might sell the property to someone else. When they finally met again, the old man's subordinates informed Trump that there were higher offers, but the old man told them not to bother, as he had already sold the property to Mr. Trump. This experience taught Trump the importance of maintaining a top-notch reputation in the business world. It wasn't about being liked or criticized, but about never breaking one's word. This is why we see Trump insisting on building a wall today, to maintain his image of keeping promises among his voters. Throughout his life, Donald Trump has been involved in numerous lawsuits, both as the plaintiff and defendant, against individuals and government entities. His preferred approach is to be assertive and carefully consider all potential threats when negotiating contracts. However, if issues arise, he is not afraid to take them to court and show no fear of anyone in the courtroom. As Trump himself has said, fighting is all about making money, and no matter how much money you have, you can't find it troublesome. He is determined to hold on to every inch of territory and never gives up easily, persistently appealing unfavorable rulings. There was even a prediction by an economist that if Trump were to come to power, he would play a timid little mouse with China, using a game theory analogy of two motorcycles approaching each other head-on, seeing who would swerve first. But Trump would be willing to hold out longer than anyone else, even to the point of collision, because whoever swerves first would be seen as a coward, and he would force China to compromise. If you understand his life story, you would know that his notoriety, the use of Twitter to govern, and his tough demeanor are all part of his strategy, rather than the portrayal of a madman in the eyes of the world.